This is Immigrant Podcast with Robinson.
Welcome everybody to the Immigrant Podcast with Robinson. Today, I'm very happy to have with me Dominic Brierre. Welcome to the show, Dominic.
It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Very good. Well, Dominic is someone that does a lot of things. By profession, he's a professional translator. He's also a teacher and a pedagogical advisor. What else do you do? Because I know you do a lot of different things.
Well, I still have projects from when I get older. when I'll be older, I still have other projects. I also love architecture. So maybe, in 10 years, you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Go for what you like. So Dominic, it's very interesting. So your story is that you were born in Montreal, but at 12, you were basically taken back to your parents' country,
Yes.
or the roots, Haiti.
Yes. Yes.
And then you basically decided to come back 6 years
Yes.
after on your own.
Yes.
So in a way, it really makes you kind of an immigrant in the sense that you had to readjust. How did that go?
Yes.
What
Actually,
was that process?
The adjusting, I had to learn it all. I wouldn't say from scratch because obviously, I had the language already. I had some knowledge of my environment, and I understood the culture. So I had that. But the way, I came back for Cégep at the time, and because I felt I needed to discover places. So it was actually a personal choice to leave and to tell my parents, listen, I have to go because I need to see places, like I said. And so the logical choice was to come back, and you don't see my air quotes, but to come back to Montreal because it is a place I discovered as an adult. I left it as, you could say, a child. And so, of course, my environment was very limited. And at the
Right.
time, we lived in the West Island. And when I came back, I moved closer to the city center because the college I was attending was in Ville Saint-Laurent. And so, like I said, I saw my environment with adult eyes. And so, yes, I had to adjust. Especially since what I did not expect was to be homesick that long.
And
Homesick from
you
Haiti.
mentioned that you were homesick for years.
Yeah, for 4 years. I mean, to the point where I used to go back every 6 months. I mean, I was going to school in Montreal, and as soon as I could, I was on the next flight out to Port-au-Prince, and this is where I lived.
Wow.
Literally, to the fullest meaning of what it means. I was alive in Haiti, and I came to school. So my brain was in Montreal, but my heart was still in Haiti. And that lasted, I think, close to 4 years. It took me 4 years to convince myself and say, look, listen, this is, come on. You have
It's
and that's enough. I mean, there's other places you could discover, and this is what I started doing. I started traveling elsewhere. And so that was also part of the adjusting. The fact that I had to accept the idea that maybe I need to start accepting the fact that I was living here.
letting go a little bit.
Let it go, yeah. So that was the adjusting, took some time. And what probably made it a bit more difficult as well in terms of the adjusting is that the fact that I was not, even though it was my own choice to leave, it was my choice. No one
Right.
forced me. It was my choice to leave. To leave. I was still somewhat living the Haitian way in Montreal.
You were still enclosed in that kind of mentality,
Yeah,
even though you were not there.
Yeah, I was living the Haitian way. So
And what helped you to readjust or to change that mentality? What were the things that really kind of woke you up and said, okay, let me shake you. Dominic, let me shake you. You're not there anymore. Readjust.
I think it was, if I recall correctly, I think it was a trip I had made. Uh, was it in Cuba? I can't recall precisely. It's some years ago. So at the time, I went to that place and I realized, not only did I discover that, well, there's other places to see. That was one thing, and I realized going away to that other place that I was missing Montreal. That's
Oh,
what happened.
wow.
That
Okay.
is what happened. And so I think after that trip, I realized I was actually belonging a lot more to Montreal than I thought. This is where I felt at ease. This was basically what I was calling home now. And actually the trip made that happen. Oddly enough,
Interesting.
I had to
Interesting.
leave the place. So I guess in my case, you could say movement is a determining factor in my life in general, actually.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
And you say that, and I think about this. I've only been here for 6 years, but I keep telling people, listen, whether people like it or not, we came here, we migrated here. But if I go to another country and they say, where are you from? Like if we don't go into details, I really have to say Canada. I really have to say Montreal because
Yeah.
where's home?
Yeah.
And wherever home is, you basically feel that you're from there, that you belong. It takes
Yeah.
time to get into that mindset and that process, but I agree with you. I felt that way. Like once I leave Canada, then I kind of realized I miss this place. I miss my house. I miss the friendships that we have here, the opportunities.
Yeah.
But but you came back basically still being an adolescent. A lot of people move here or do that. Like I know other cases where the kids were taken back to the home countries and then they came back on their own or with their parents again.
Mhm.
What do you recommend the audience to do when that comes into their lives? Like what is the best way to kind of come back, join the community and readjust?
I guess it depends on personality. I tend to, I'm a people's person, so it makes it easier to
It
connect with
does.
people. And so I really feel that relationships are important. I believe that they build us, they make us
Yes.
grow. Um, and that's true personally. It is true also professionally,
Yes.
in all aspects of our lives. So we are people's person, whether we like it or not. And so I guess if you are open to other people, it makes it easier.
It does.
At the time, obviously, I mean, we had nothing like the internet was did not exist. So I believe nowadays it's a different experience because I feel that people are connected, at least virtually, with one another. And I think coming to Montreal, it is, I believe, and I wouldn't know this for a fact, but I believe it's easier to connect with people
Yes.
before you come. And so just to
True.
create that, that those connections ahead of time may help. At least you know a bit more about your environment nowadays than I was able to at the time. You get to know more about where you're going.
Right. Yeah.
You could, the information is out there, in the open.
And
You can,
how do you feel about something that you're currently doing, volunteering as a mentor? Um, what do you think about mentorship?
to me, I wouldn't do it if I didn't believe it was absolutely important. To me, and I chose, so like, I think it was 12 years ago, I decided that, okay, you know, um, if I were to help in any way, I would do so. Um, I would work in professional immigration. That's what I chose to work and focus on. And I said to myself at the time, if I can help in that in that way, I would do it. And from that moment on, I not only worked, because at the time I was working for a nonprofit organization
Okay.
as a trainer. So I was helping people basically get their resumes, prepping up their resumes, prepping them up for interviews and all that. And to this day, I still do it. At
Awesome.
Champlain,
Wow.
I actually, I had a session this morning on CV preparation. I still feel professional integration is actually key
It is.
for people who choose to call Montreal their home. And so if you can integrate the job market early enough, you know, find something that's close to what you need and what your ambitions are, then you are more able to actually be have this sense of fulfillment in other aspects of your life, whether it be personal, whether it be, you know, for your kids and all. I think it's key, you know,
It
because we
is.
spend 8 hours a day at our
Yeah.
jobs. So a lot of our professional networks become we make friends out of our professional networks. And like I said, relationships help us grow. And in that, if I come back to that idea, the mentorship relationship is one that makes someone else grow, and even myself grow professionally as well. So I think it's really important, and it does change lives. I mean, it helps people find,
Where
it connects people.
it does. Where can an immigrant go in Montreal to find, let's say the way it is, a free mentor when it comes to integration, those things?
Hirondelle is where I act as a mentor. It's a non-profit organization based in Montreal that actually helps immigrant integrate not only the job market, but it does so work on the professional integration side. And so yes, Hirondelle, absolutely, absolutely. I've been there, like, it's been what, 7 years now, something like that.
And how much of your, let's say, weekly or monthly time do you volunteer at Hirondelle?
Actually, I haven't been working much at Hirondelle over the course of the last 2 years, and that's because they match you according to your professional background.
I
I
understand.
have, I'm no computer specialist, and so it makes it a lot more difficult to find someone else to match me with. And so I was mentoring people in the translation industry. So people who, like the person I was actually mentoring was a translator from Colombia who was trying to integrate this profession here in Montreal. And so it's all about giving, um, yes, where to look, guiding on how to find the information, but also getting that person to meet other people as well in the industry.
So I love what you've done because you really kind of had to reintegrate when you came back. And
Mhm,
now this is something that you've been doing, out of experience, really, right? Out of
mhm.
experience, you've been trying to help others in that integration process was just crucial, especially in the first months when people
Yeah,
arrive here.
yeah.
And when it comes to CV, I fully agree with you because I started sending CVs, but the Dominican form, the
Yeah.
Dominican way. And,
Uh-huh.
I will never forget Josiane. That's the name of the person. She's a recruiter. I remember she gave me a call and said, "You're not going to get anything sending the CV that way. You need to change it. I'm going to send you a template. Change whatever you have right now to the way the template is set up and send it to me so I can check it out." So I
Mhm.
did that, and I was getting calls, 3, 4 calls per day, a lot of emails, a lot of questions. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, how it can really change your life and your future here in Montreal, just the way you set up your CV.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's really important. And so I try to help, you know, in the best way possible because I feel it's important. It is something that I even spent some of my graduate studies studying professional integration. So
Wow.
that's what I did my master's on. I did my master's on workplace diversification and union education. Yeah,
Wow.
people say, are you crazy? What is that topic?
But I got to say that you were a visionary because now every single company out there is talking about diversity and
Oh,
inclusion.
yes.
So you were a visionary.
That was
Oh my
actually,
God.
you know what, when I started working on that topic, it was about 12 years ago, 12 years ago. A lot was already written on that specific topic. It's actually surprising.
But
It's
no
an
one was doing anything.
old theme. Huh?
No one was doing anything. Not like
No.
now. Now is like
Yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah, there is momentum now. But at the time, I mean, a lot of it had already been written on that subject, on that very subject.
Amazing. So, because you're willing to help, where could people reach out to on social media? I know you have LinkedIn, but
LinkedIn
what is
probably
the
is the
one
best.
that you reach out, that you can be reached
Oh,
out
LinkedIn is
to
the
the
best.
easiest? LinkedIn.
Because I will tell you, I have to be honest, I have no Facebook account. I was never on Facebook.
Wow.
I'm on Twitter,
Okay.
but I'm also on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
that's probably the best way to reach out.
LinkedIn. That's a professional network. Over
That's a professional.
700 million professionals around the world.
Yeah.
So, Dominic, something that we do when we're about to close the podcast, this interaction we've had, is that we ask the EVT to say a couple of things in your mother tongue. But in this case, it's going to be, because we have a huge Haitian community there, it's going to be in Creole.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, go ahead.
So to my Haitian fellows out there, je palage, rêve que nous gagnons, nous capables de réaliser Montréal, gain place, gain moyen, et gain monde tout qui ka correr nous tout. Donc, je pas hésiter.
And I'm going to add to that, Chita, bye-bye.
Chita bye-bye. Yeah. Chita bye-bye.
I got my
Marcher, make mouvement sur nous. Yeah.
Exactement. I have my Haitian phrases
Yeah,
still here in my
not
brain.
so bad.
Yeah. And that's one I really like a lot because it's basically saying, do not just sit around, take action, do something. By sitting around, you're not going to get anywhere. So move.
Be on the move.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All
right, Dominic, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. I learned a lot.
My pleasure. Really. Thanks to you.
And I'm going to be adding your LinkedIn into the podcast description. So thank you.
No problem.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
This was I'm Migrant Podcast with Robinson.